My sister said she'd planned my surprise birthday party. I walked in to find all my husband's family, none of mine, and a cake that said, "Happy Divorce." I stood frozen in the doorway of what used to be my home. My husband Garrett stood beside the cake, grinning. His mother had her phone out, filming. His brother was already opening champagne. "Surprise," my sister Chelsea said flatly from the corner. I'd asked her 6 weeks ago to organize something small, just family and close friends for my 40th. She'd been enthusiastic, texting me constantly about keeping my schedule clear, making sure I wouldn't suspect anything. This wasn't what I'd imagined. "We thought we'd combine celebrations," Garrett's mother announced, her voice dripping with satisfaction. "Kill two birds with one stone, so to speak." She'd never liked me, called me common when Garrett first brought me home. The divorce papers sat on the table beside the cake. I recognized Garrett's lawyer's letterhead. I walked closer, my hands shaking. The filing date was yesterday. He'd served me at my own birthday party. "Your sister was very helpful," Garrett said, putting his arm around Chelsea. "She made sure your whole family had conflicts today. Funerals, work emergencies, sudden illnesses." He smiled. Amazing how she managed to coordinate all that. Chelsea wouldn't meet my eyes. I picked up the papers. 6 years of marriage dissolved in 12 pages of legal jargon. But it was page 7 that made my blood run cold. The asset division listed our house, our cars, our savings. Everything split down the middle, except for one thing. My inheritance from Grandma Rose. The $340,000 she'd left me 4 years ago. According to these papers, Garrett was claiming half. His lawyer had argued I'd deposited it in our joint account, making it marital property. "You told him," I whispered to Chelsea. "I told you in confidence that I'd been keeping it separate." She finally looked at me. "He offered me $15,000, and honestly, you've always had everything handed to you. Grandma Rose left you all that money while the rest of us got nothing. She left it to me because I took care of her for 5 years while you were too busy partying through college." Garrett's mother raised her glass. "To new beginnings, and to Chelsea, for being smart enough to back the winning team." The room erupted in laughter. I noticed Garrett's secretary in the corner, wearing the earrings I'd helped him pick out for his mother last Christmas. So that's who it was. I turned to leave, but Garrett grabbed my arm. "Oh, and one more thing. The house? I'm keeping it. My lawyer found a clause that works in my favor since my parents helped with the down payment. They had contributed $8,000 on a $470,000 home." I pulled my arm free and walked to my car. My phone buzzed with a text from my mom. "Chelsea said you canceled. Hope you're having a good birthday anyway." Another text from Dad. "Your sister said you came down with food poisoning. Feel better, sweetheart." I sat in the driveway for 10 minutes, watching through the window as they ate my cake and toasted my divorce. Then I opened my banking app. The inheritance account Chelsea thought existed? It didn't. I'd moved that money 18 months ago when I first suspected Garrett was cheating. Moved it somewhere he'd never find it, under a name he didn't know I had. But I'd told Chelsea a different story 2 months ago, testing her loyalty after she'd asked one too many questions about my finances. She'd failed spectacularly. I made one phone call to someone I'd been avoiding for 6 months. Someone Garrett had no idea existed. Someone whose evidence I'd been gathering since I found the first hotel receipt. Someone who specialized in making people like Garrett very, very sorry. "It's time," I said when he answered. "Bring everything, especially the photos from the company retreat." His response made me smile for the first time in hours. The someone was Vincent Torres, a forensic accountant who also happened to be a private investigator. I'd hired him 5 months ago after finding charges on our credit card for a hotel room during a business trip where Garrett claimed he'd stayed with colleagues. Vincent had been thorough, disturbingly thorough. "I can be at your location in 20 minutes, Vincent said. "Where are you?" "Outside my house." Or his house now, apparently. "The party still going?" "They're on their second bottle of champagne." "Perfect. Don't go anywhere." I hung up and opened the folder on my phone. Vincent had been sending me files weekly, each one more damaging than the last. Bank statements showing transfers to his secretary. Hotel receipts from 11 different cities. Restaurant charges for expensive dinners on nights he'd told me he was working late. Credit card bills for jewelry I'd never received. But the company retreat photos were the nuclear option. Garrett's firm had gone to Napa Valley in September. Spouses weren't invited. He'd told me it was 3 days of intensive training and team-building exercises. The photos told a different story. Garrett and his secretary at a vineyard, his arm around her waist. Garrett and his secretary in a hot tub at sunset. Garrett and his secretary entering a hotel room together. The timestamps showed they'd spent every night together. Vincent had also found something else, something that made Garrett's claim to my inheritance laughable. For the past 9 months, Garrett had been moving money out of our joint accounts. Small amounts at first, $500 here, $800 there, transfers that looked like normal spending. But they added up. He'd moved $63,000 into a separate account I didn't know existed. An account in his name only. An account he'd opened the same week he'd asked me to put my inheritance into our joint savings. I'd never done it, but I'd let Chelsea think I had. My phone buzzed again. This time it was my brother. "Chelsea just called me crying saying you abandoned your own birthday party. What's going on?" I called him back. "Get Mom and Dad on the line," I said. "Conference call. Now." 5 minutes later, I had all of them listening. "Chelsea didn't plan my birthday party," I said calmly. "She planned my divorce party, with Garrett's family, without telling any of you." Silence. "She what?" Mom's voice was sharp. I explained everything. The cake, the papers, the $15,000 bribe. Chelsea's lies about why none of them could attend. "She told me you had emergency surgery," my brother said quietly. "She told us you wanted a small party with just Garrett's family this year," Dad added. "Said you'd see us next weekend instead." More silence. Then my mom said something I'd never heard her say about Chelsea. "That little snake." A black sedan pulled up beside my car. Vincent stepped out carrying a leather briefcase. He was exactly as I remembered. Mid-50s, silver hair, expensive suit. He looked like someone's kind uncle. He'd destroyed 3 marriages and uncovered $12 million in fraud last year alone. I'll call you back, I told my family. Vincent slid into my passenger seat. That your house? For now. Nice. Shame you're losing it. Am I? He smiled. Not even a little bit. He opened his briefcase. Let's talk about what your husband doesn't know I know. For the next hour, Vincent walked me through everything. The hidden account. The systematic theft of marital assets. The affair that had been going on for 11 months. The emails where Garrett and his lawyer had strategized about how to take my inheritance. The text between Garrett and Chelsea where he'd coached her on exactly what lies to tell my family. Here's the beautiful part, Vincent said, pulling out a thick folder. Your inheritance never touched your joint account. You kept it separate. His lawyer has no case. But this? He tapped the folder. This is called dissipation of marital assets. Your husband systematically depleted your joint accounts to fund an affair. That's a big problem for him. How big? Big enough that a judge will likely award you more than half of everything, and he'll be responsible for your legal fees, and possibly face fraud charges. What about the house? His parents contributed $8,000 8 years ago. That's 1.7% of the purchase price. You've both been paying the mortgage for 8 years. His lawyer's clause means nothing, but even if it did, Vincent pulled out another document. I pulled the title records. The house is in both your names. Joint tenancy with right of survivorship. He can't force a sale without your agreement. And given what he's done, a judge would likely award you the house and make him buy out his own half. I sat back. What about Chelsea's $15,000? That's where it gets interesting. Vincent's smile widened. That payment? It came from your joint account, the one he's been systematically draining. He paid your sister to betray you using what's legally your money. Can we prove that? Already have. Bank records with timestamps. The transfer happened 6 days ago. Through the window, I could see the party winding down. Garrett's family was taking photos with Chelsea. His secretary was cutting another slice of cake. What do we do now? I asked. Now? Vincent checked his watch. Now we go inside and I introduce myself. You remember what I told you to say? Nothing. Good girl. I do all the talking. You just watch. We walked up to the front door together. I didn't knock. It was still my house. The key still worked. The room went silent when we entered. Garrett's face went pale. What are you doing back here? Vincent stepped forward. Mr. Garrett Collins? My name is Vincent Torres. I'm a forensic accountant and private investigator working on behalf of your wife. I'm here to inform you that you are in violation of California Family Code Section 1101, which prohibits the dissipation of marital assets. Over the past 9 months, you have systematically transferred $63,000 from joint accounts to a separate account without your wife's knowledge or consent. The room had gone from silent to dead quiet. Vincent continued, pulling documents from his briefcase. I have bank statements, transfer records, and email correspondence between you and your attorney discussing this strategy. I also have photographic evidence of an extramarital affair spanning 11 months, receipts for marital assets used to fund said affair, and documentation that you paid a third party to interfere with marital property. Chelsea's face went white. You can't prove any of that, Garrett's lawyer said from the corner. I hadn't even noticed him there. Vincent turned to him. Are you Daniel Hoffman of Hoffman & Associates? I am. Then you're aware that California is a community property state and that dissipation of assets can result in the court awarding the injured spouse more than 50% of the marital estate? Hoffman didn't answer. Vincent placed a stack of documents on the table. These are copies. I'll be filing the originals with the court on Monday morning, along with a motion to freeze all joint accounts and a request for emergency spousal support. I'll also be filing a formal complaint with the state bar regarding your conduct in advising your client to commit fraud. Now wait just a minute, Hoffman started. I'm not finished. Vincent's voice could have cut glass. The inheritance your client is trying to claim? It never touched a joint account, Mrs. Collins kept it separate in accordance with California law. Your entire claim is fraudulent. What's not fraudulent is the $63,000 her husband stole, the $11,000 he spent on hotel rooms with his secretary, the $4,200 he spent on jewelry for his mistress, the $1,800 he spent on romantic dinners while telling his wife he was working late. Garrett's secretary had put down her cake. And then there's the matter of the payment to Chelsea Roberts. Vincent turned to my sister. You received $15,000 6 days ago from Garrett Collins. That money came from a joint marital account. You accepted payment to interfere with marital property and to commit fraud against family members. That makes you an accessory to financial fraud. You can expect a subpoena. Chelsea looked like she might throw up. This is ridiculous, Garrett's mother said. You can't just come in here and… Mrs. Collins, Vincent turned to her. Your son is about to lose his house, half his retirement accounts, and possibly his license to practice. I'd suggest you stop talking and hire him a better lawyer. Vincent turned back to Garrett. You have 72 hours to vacate this property. Your wife will be moving back in on Monday. You'll receive formal notice of all proceedings at your office. This is my house, Garrett said weakly. Actually, it's not. It's a joint asset in a community property state, and your wife will be awarded primary residence due to your misconduct. You might want to start looking for an apartment. Vincent gestured toward the door. Everyone who doesn't live here needs to leave. Now. Nobody moved. I can call the police if you prefer, Vincent said mildly. I have a very good relationship with the local precinct. They're always interested in fraud cases. Garrett's family started gathering their things. Chelsea was already heading for the door, her face buried in her hands. Garrett's secretary practically ran out. Garrett just stood there staring at the ruins of his plan. You set me up, he said to me. I spoke for the first time since entering. No, you set yourself up. I just documented it. Vincent and I waited while everyone filed out. Garrett's mother was the last to leave, shooting me a look of pure hatred. Garrett's lawyer lingered. You're making a mistake, Hoffman said to Vincent. We can fight this. You can try. It'll cost your client about $80,000 in legal fees, and he'll lose anyway. Or he can settle now and walk away with his retirement intact. Your choice. Hoffman looked at Garrett, then left without another word. Finally, it was just the three of us. I need to get some things, Garrett said. Take your clothes, Vincent said. Nothing else. Artwork, furniture, electronics. Everything stays until the court decides. I'll be here to supervise. Garrett went upstairs. I could hear him moving around in our bedroom, former bedroom. Vincent turned to me. You okay? I don't know yet. That's fair. 20 minutes later, Garrett came back down with 2 suitcases. He stopped at the door. I really loved you, he said. In the beginning. In the beginning, you didn't know about the inheritance. His face hardened. You're going to regret this. No, I said calmly. You are. He left. The door closed. The house was silent. Vincent started gathering his papers. Your family's probably still on that conference call. Probably. You should call them. Let them know you're okay. In a minute. I walked through the house. Everything looked the same, but it felt different, lighter. I checked my phone. 14 missed calls from Chelsea. 8 text messages begging me to call her back. I blocked her number. My mom called. Where are you? What happened? We've been worried sick. I told her everything. She listened without interrupting. When I finished, she was quiet for a long moment. I'm coming over, she said finally. Your father and I both. We'll be there in 30 minutes. You don't have to. We're coming. End of discussion. My brother called next. Chelsea's at my house crying. Says you humiliated her. She took money to sabotage my marriage. I know. I kicked her out. She can stay with mom and dad if they'll have her. But she's not staying here. They're coming over to my place. Then she can figure it out herself. He paused. I'm sorry. I should have realized something was wrong when she told me you had emergency surgery. I should have called to check on you. It's not your fault. Still, I'm your brother. I should have known. After we hung up, I walked into the kitchen. The divorce cake was still on the counter. I picked it up, walked outside, and dumped it in the trash. The candles were still stuck in the frosting. Vincent appeared in the doorway. That's a waste of good cake. Not really. It tasted like betrayal. He laughed. Fair enough. He handed me a card. My direct number. Call me if he comes back or if anything feels off. I'll have someone watching the house for the next few days. You don't have to do that. I know, but your husband's the type who doesn't accept defeat gracefully. Better safe than sorry. My parents arrived as Vincent was leaving. Mom took one look at me and pulled me into a hug. Dad stood in the doorway looking uncomfortable, the way he always did with emotional situations. Where's Chelsea? I asked. Your brother's place. He called and told us what she did. I told her not to come home tonight. Mom pulled back, studying my face. Are you really okay? I think so. That's not an answer. It's the only one I have right now. Dad spoke up. What do you need from us? I looked around the house. Help me change the locks. Tomorrow, if you can. Vincent said Garrett has 72 hours to vacate, but I don't trust him. Done. I'll call a locksmith first thing in the morning. We spent the next hour talking through everything. What would happen next? What the legal process would look like. How to handle Chelsea. Mom was furious. Dad was his usual quiet self, but I could see anger simmering underneath. I always knew something was off about that boy, he said finally. Too smooth. Too charming. The kind of man who says exactly what you want to hear. You never said anything. You seemed happy. I thought maybe I was wrong. After they left, I walked through the house again, room by room. It was after midnight. Technically, it was no longer my birthday. My phone buzzed. A text from Vincent. Court filing went through. Emergency freeze on all joint accounts is in effect as of 11:57 p.m. He can't touch anything. I texted back. How did you file that so fast? It's Sunday night. I have a judge who owes me a favor. She happened to be available. Your husband's going to wake up tomorrow to a very unpleasant surprise. I smiled. Thank you. Don't thank me yet. The real work starts Monday. I went upstairs and looked in the bedroom. Garrett's side of the closet was empty. His nightstand was cleared. The bathroom counter where he kept his cologne and razors was bare. 6 years of marriage erased in 20 minutes. I should have felt sad. Instead, I felt relieved. I changed into my pajamas and got into bed. The sheets still smelled like him. I'd change them tomorrow. Tonight, I was too tired. My phone buzzed again. This time it was an email. From Garrett. You're going to destroy both of us with this. We could have worked it out. We could have talked. Instead, you brought in lawyers and investigators. You've turned this into a war. I read it twice. Then I replied. You started this war the first time you put your hands on your secretary. You declared war when you stole $63,000 from our accounts. You launched the nuclear option when you paid my sister to sabotage my birthday party and tried to steal my inheritance. I'm just finishing what you started. His response came 30 seconds later. Fine. You want to play it this way? My lawyer says I can make this last year's. I'll drag out every deposition, contest every filing, make your life hell. By the time we're done, you'll wish you'd just walked away. I smiled and typed my response. Go ahead. Vincent has enough evidence to put you in front of a judge for fraud. The longer you drag this out, the worse it gets for you. But if you want to spend the next 2 years hemorrhaging legal fees while I live in our house rent-free, be my guest. He didn't respond after that. I set my phone to silent and closed my eyes. Tomorrow would be complicated. Tomorrow would involve lawyers and paperwork, and probably more texts from Chelsea begging for forgiveness. Tomorrow I'd have to figure out how to rebuild a life that had imploded in a single evening. But tonight, I was done. I fell asleep in my house. In my bed. Exactly where I belonged. Monday morning started with a phone call at 6:09 a.m. Vincent. You awake? I am now. Good. Your husband just called his lawyer. They're requesting an emergency hearing to contest the account freeze. I sat up. Can they do that? They can request it. They won't win. The judge already reviewed my evidence. But they're going to try. Be ready for a call from Hoffman. He's going to offer a settlement. What kind of settlement? The kind where Garrett keeps the house, gives you $100,000, and you walk away. That's insulting. That's the opening move. Don't accept anything until you talk to me first. Sure enough, Hoffman called at 8:30. Mrs. Collins, I think we should discuss a resolution that works for everyone. I'm listening. My client is willing to offer you a very generous settlement. $150,000, half the retirement accounts, and one of the vehicles. In exchange, you sign over your interest in the house and we both walk away. Your client stole $63,000 from our joint accounts and tried to steal my inheritance. Why would I accept that? Because the alternative is a long, expensive court battle that neither of you can afford. Actually, according to California law, your client will be paying my legal fees due to his dissipation of assets. So I can afford a very long battle. Can he? Silence on the other end. I'll call you back, Hoffman said. He called back 20 minutes later. $200,000 and the house. No. What do you want? The house. My inheritance stays mine. Garrett pays back the $63,000 he stole. He covers all legal fees. He can have his retirement accounts and his car. Everything else gets divided 50-50. That's not reasonable. Then we go to court. I have 11 months of evidence showing systematic fraud. Do you really want a judge to see that? Hoffman hung up. Vincent called back at noon. He just fired Hoffman. Good. Not good. He hired Patricia Vance. I didn't recognize the name. Should I be worried? Vance is a bulldog. She's expensive, ruthless, and she doesn't settle. This just got complicated. How complicated? She's going to file for temporary spousal support. Claim your husband can't afford his current living expenses. Request the court force you to pay his rent while the divorce process. Are you kidding me? I wish I was. She's also going to argue that you've been hiding assets and that the inheritance is subject to division because you commingled funds. I never commingled anything. I know. But she's going to make us prove it. Line by line, transaction by transaction. It's going to be tedious. Can we win? Absolutely, but it's going to take time. And money. Vance's retainer alone is probably $50,000. Your husband must have family money he hasn't told you about. That night, I got a call from Chelsea. She'd gotten a new number. Please just listen, she said when I answered. I made a terrible mistake. I don't know what I was thinking. He offered me money and I was desperate and I'm so sorry. You told everyone in our family that I had emergency surgery, that I had food poisoning. You made sure no one I love would be there. I know, and I'm so sorry. Please, I'm your sister. You took money to sabotage my marriage. You watched him serve me divorce papers and you didn't say anything. You stood in my house and watched them laugh at me. I was scared. He said if I didn't help him, he'd tell everyone about... She stopped. About what? Silence. Chelsea. About what? More silence. Then quietly. About the money I borrowed from you 2 years ago. The money I told you I'd pay back. I'd forgotten about that. $12,000 for her car down payment after she totaled her old one. She'd promised to pay me back within a year. She never had. He said he'd tell mom and dad that I've been lying about paying you back, that I've been keeping the money. He had proof of the transfer. He showed me the bank statement. So you sold me out for $15,000 to avoid admitting you stole $12,000? I didn't think he'd actually serve you at the party. I thought he just wanted your family out of the way so his family could be there. I didn't know about the cake or the papers or... Her voice broke. I swear I didn't know. But you knew enough to make sure I'd be alone. She was crying now. Please. I'll give the money back. All of it. The $15,000 and the $12,000? I'll get a loan. I'll work extra shifts. Please just talk to me. You know what the worst part is? If you'd just told me the truth about the $12,000, I would have forgiven you. We would have worked it out. But you let him turn you into an accessory to fraud instead. I'm so sorry. Vincent says you're going to be subpoenaed, probably deposed. If I were you, I'd get a lawyer. I can't afford a lawyer. Then you shouldn't have taken money to commit fraud. I hung up. My brother called an hour later. That was harsh. You heard? She called me crying. Good. She's still our sister. She's a sister who chose money over family. I don't know how to forgive that. Neither do I, he admitted. But Mom's going to push you to reconcile. You know how she is. Mom can push all she wants. And push she did. For the next month, Mom called weekly asking me to talk to Chelsea, to give her another chance, to remember that family is everything. Family is supposed to protect each other. I told her after the 5th call. She did the opposite. She made a mistake. She made a choice. The court proceedings dragged on. Vance filed motion after motion, requested document after document, took depositions from everyone I'd ever known. She questioned my parents about my inheritance, questioned my friends about my marriage, questioned my coworkers about my character. Vincent matched her filing for filing. In December, 6 months after the divorce party, we finally got a court date. A judge would hear arguments and make preliminary decisions about the house, the accounts, and spousal support. The night before the hearing, Vincent called. Vance just sent over a final settlement offer. What is it? $175,000 cash. You keep your inheritance. You split the retirement accounts and the cars. Garrett gets the house. No, that's what I told her you'd say. But there's more. Garrett drops all claims to your inheritance. He admits to dissipation of assets. He pays $40,000 in restitution for the money he took, and he pays your legal fees. But he gets the house? He gets the house. I thought about it. The house had good memories and bad ones. I'd spent 6 years there, built a life there. But it was also where he'd betrayed me, where he'd planned my destruction. What do you think? I asked Vincent. I think you'd win if we went to trial. I think you'd get the house and more, but I also think it would take another year and cost another $30,000 in legal fees even though he's paying, and I think you'd spend that year reliving every bad moment of this marriage while Vance drags it out as long as possible. So you think I should take it? I think you should decide what you want more, the house or your freedom. I thought about it all night. In the morning, I called Vincent. Take the deal. I want this over. You sure? I'm sure. We settled 3 days before Christmas. I signed the papers in Vincent's office. Garrett signed them separately. We never saw each other. The $175,000 hit my account on December 28th. The $40,000 restitution came the next day. Vincent's final bill was $12,000, worth every penny. I spent January looking for a new place. Found a condo downtown with a view of the bay. Smaller than the house, but it was mine. Only mine. I moved in on Valentine's Day. The irony wasn't lost on me. My brother helped with the furniture. Dad installed new locks. Mom stocked my kitchen with enough food to last a month. Chelsea didn't come. She'd moved to Arizona in November. Took a job as a medical transcriptionist. She sent me a card at Christmas with a check for $1,000 and a note that said, "First payment, 26 more to go." I cashed the check but didn't respond. In March, I ran into Garrett's secretary at a coffee shop downtown. She looked different, thinner, tired. She saw me and tried to leave, but I blocked her path. "How is he?" I asked. She looked surprised. "You care? I'm curious." She hesitated. Then, "Not great. He's living with his parents. Vance cost him $75,000. He had to sell his car. His company demoted him after HR found out about us. Good. He blames you for everything." "Of course he does. For what it's worth." She looked down. "I'm sorry about the party, about all of it. I thought he was going to leave you. He said you'd agreed to an amicable split. I didn't know he was stealing from you. But you knew he was married." "Yes. Then you knew enough." I left before she could respond. In April, I got an email from an address I didn't recognize. The subject line said, "You need to know this." Inside was a forwarded message chain between Garrett and Vance from February, after the settlement. He was asking about ways to contest it, claiming I'd coerced him into signing. Vance had shut him down hard. "You signed a binding agreement. The judge approved it. You have no grounds to contest. Stop emailing me." The email to me included a note. "He's not going to let this go. Be careful. VT, Vincent." I forwarded it to my lawyer and changed my phone number. Installed a security system in my condo. Started checking my mirrors when I drove, but Garrett never came. Months passed. Spring turned to summer. I started going to therapy, processing everything that had happened, learning to trust again, learning to be alone without feeling lonely. My therapist asked me in August what I'd learned. "That people will surprise you," I said. "Sometimes in wonderful ways, sometimes in terrible ones. And that you never really know someone until their interests stop aligning with yours." "What about your sister? What about her? Are you ever going to forgive her?" "I don't know yet. Right now I'm focused on forgiving myself." "For what?" "For not seeing it sooner. For trusting people who didn't deserve it. For building a life with someone who was already planning to destroy it." In September, Chelsea called from a new number. I almost didn't answer. "I'm not asking for forgiveness," she said before I could speak. "I just wanted you to know that I've paid you back. All of it. The $15,000 and the $12,000, plus interest. The bank should have transferred it this morning." I checked my account. She was right. $28,600. "Thank you," I said. "That's it? Just thank you? What else do you want me to say?" "I don't know. Something. Anything. I'm glad you paid me back. It was the right thing to do." "Am I ever going to be more than the person who betrayed you?" I thought about that. "Maybe, but not today." She hung up. 2 weeks later, I got a wedding invitation. My brother was getting married. The envelope was addressed just to me. No +1. There was a handwritten note inside from my brother. "Chelsea won't be there." I didn't invite her. "I know that's harsh, but I can't have her at my wedding after what she did to yours. Mom's upset, but she'll get over it. Hope you'll come." B. I went to the wedding, danced with my dad, caught up with relatives, met my brother's bride, who was lovely and kind and nothing like Chelsea. At the reception, my mom cornered me at the bar. "You look happy," she said. "I am. I'm glad." She ordered a glass of wine. "Chelsea asked me to talk to you." "Of course she did. She's trying. She really is. She's been in therapy. She paid you back. She's working on herself." "I know. So when are you going to forgive her?" "When I'm ready. Not before." Mom looked at me for a long moment. "You've gotten harder." "No, I've gotten smarter about who deserves my softness." In October, exactly 18 months after the divorce party, I got a text from Vincent. "Thought you'd want to know. Garrett just filed for bankruptcy. Turns out he had $130,000 in credit card debt he'd been hiding from everyone, including Vance." I texted back, "How is that possible?" "Gambling. Found out through a mutual contact. He's been betting on sports for years. Lost big. That's probably why he was so desperate for your inheritance." So that was it. Not just an affair. Not just a midlife crisis. He'd been drowning in debt and saw my inheritance as a life raft. I should have felt vindicated. Instead, I just felt tired. In December, I went to my company holiday party. I'd been avoiding work events since the divorce, too raw to handle small talk about my personal life. But my boss had insisted, and I was finally in a place where I could face it. That's where I met Cameron. He was a consultant working on a project with our finance team. Tall, quiet, with kind eyes and an easy smile. We ended up talking for over an hour. He asked about my work, my hobbies, my favorite books. He didn't ask about my relationship status or my past. When the party ended, he asked if I'd like to get coffee sometime. I hesitated, then said yes. We got coffee, then dinner, then more dinners. He was patient, never pushed, never asked questions I wasn't ready to answer. When I finally told him about the divorce, about Garrett, about everything, he just listened. "That's a lot to go through," he said when I finished. It was. "Are you over it?" I thought about that. I'm over him. I don't know if I'm over what he did to me. That's fair. Does it bother you? The baggage? Everyone has baggage. At least yours is unpacked and labeled. I laughed. It felt good. In February, 2 years after the divorce party, my dad called. "Chelsea's engaged," he said. "Okay. She wants to invite you to the wedding." "I'm not going." "Your mother thought you might say that." Then why are you calling? Because I wanted to tell you that I'm proud of you, for standing your ground, for not letting people pressure you into forgiving someone before you're ready. Your mother means well, but sometimes she forgets that forgiveness isn't something you owe people. It's something you give when you're ready. I felt tears prick my eyes. Thanks, Dad. Chelsea made her choices. You're allowed to make yours. In March, Cameron and I moved in together. Nothing dramatic, just a natural progression of two people who'd found something real. He never tried to fix me, never tried to fill the spaces Garrett had carved out. He just existed beside me while I rebuilt myself piece by piece. In April, I got one final email from Garrett. I know you probably don't want to hear from me, but I'm in a program now, working on my issues. Part of that is making amends. I'm sorry for everything I did, for betraying you, for stealing from you, for the party, all of it. I don't expect forgiveness. I just wanted you to know that I know how badly I messed up. I hope you're happy. You deserved better than what I gave you. I read it 3 times. Then I replied, I accept your apology. I hope you get the help you need, but I don't want any further contact. Please respect that. He never wrote back. Life moved forward. Cameron got promoted. I started painting again, something I'd abandoned during my marriage. We adopted a dog, made friends with our neighbors, built a life that was quiet and stable and genuinely happy. In June, 3 years after the divorce, my brother called. Chelsea's pregnant. That's nice. She asked if you'd want to be the baby's godmother. No. I told her you'd say that. Why does she keep doing this? Because she thinks if she can just get you to say yes to something, anything, that it'll mean you've forgiven her. Has she considered that maybe I haven't? Every day, I think. In September, I got an invitation to Chelsea's baby shower. I didn't respond. The baby was born in November, a girl. Chelsea sent me a photo with a card that said, her name is Rose, after Grandma. I thought you'd want to know. I looked at the photo for a long time. The baby had Grandma's eyes. Chelsea looked happy in the picture. Tired, but happy. I sent a gift, a savings bond for $1,000. No card, no message. Chelsea texted, thank you, for the bond and for not forgetting she exists. I didn't respond. In December, 4 years after the divorce party, Cameron proposed. We were on a hike, just the 2 of us and the dog. No photographers, no grand gestures, just him and me and a simple question. I know marriage is complicated for you. I know it means things it shouldn't have to mean, but I love you, and I want to build a life with you, a real one, an honest one. Will you marry me? I said yes. We got married in March in a small ceremony at the courthouse. My parents were there, my brother and his wife, a few close friends. Vincent came, which surprised me but shouldn't have. Chelsea wasn't invited. I didn't feel guilty about it. The wedding was perfect, simple, honest, everything my first wedding hadn't been. Afterward, at the small reception at our favorite restaurant, my mom pulled me aside. Are you sure about this? About not inviting Chelsea? Mom, stop. She's your sister. She made a mistake 4 years ago. How long are you going to punish her? I'm not punishing her. I'm protecting myself. By excluding her from your wedding? By not pretending we have a relationship we don't have. Family is supposed to forgive. And family is supposed to be trustworthy. She wasn't. So here we are. I walked away before she could respond. Cameron found me on the restaurant's patio 10 minutes later. Your mom giving you grief about Chelsea? How did you know? She's been giving me grief about Chelsea for 6 months. Thinks I can convince you to reconcile. And can you? He pulled me close. Not my place. You get to decide who's in your life and who isn't. That's not up to your mom or your brother or anyone else. Even you? Especially me. Life continued. Cameron and I bought a house. I got promoted at work. We talked about kids but decided we were happy with just the dog and each other. 5 years after the divorce party, Vincent sent me a news article. Garrett had been arrested for insurance fraud. He'd filed a false claim on a car accident and gotten caught. Thought you'd want to know he's still making terrible decisions, Vincent wrote. I didn't reply. Garrett was no longer my problem. In August, 6 years after everything, Chelsea showed up at my house unannounced. I know you don't want to see me, she said when I opened the door. But I'm done waiting for permission. I'm done sending checks and gifts and cards into a void hoping you'll respond. I'm done pretending I can fix what I broke. Then why are you here? Because Rose is starting kindergarten next month and she asked me why she doesn't have an aunt like the other kids. And I didn't know what to tell her. Tell her the truth, that her mother betrayed her aunt 6 years ago and still hasn't fully accepted responsibility for it. I've apologized 1,000 times. I paid you back. I've left you alone when you ask. What more do you want? I want you to stop acting like I'm being unreasonable for not trusting you. It's been 6 years, and I still remember every detail of that party. Every lie you told my family. Every smile on your face while you watched me get served divorce papers. Time doesn't erase that. She was crying now. I was desperate and scared and I made the worst decision of my life. But I'm not that person anymore. I've changed. I've grown. I've become a mother. Doesn't that count for something? Maybe. But not enough to trust you again. So that's it? We're just done? Forever? I don't know. Maybe. Maybe not. But I'm not going to let you guilt me into a relationship I don't want just because you have a daughter now. She left. I didn't watch her go. Cameron came home an hour later and found me on the couch. Chelsea was here, I said. I figured. Am I a bad person for not forgiving her? No, you're a person with boundaries. That's not the same thing. My mom thinks I'm being cruel. Your mom didn't have to watch her sister betray her at what should have been a celebration. What if Rose grows up hating me for not being in her life? That's Chelsea's responsibility to explain, not yours to prevent. 7 years after the divorce party, my brother called. Dad's sick, he said. Cancer. Stage 4, pancreatic. The world tilted. How long? 6 to 8 months, maybe. He starts treatment next week. I took family leave from work. Spent every day I could with Dad. He was doing better than expected, all things considered. Still cracking jokes. Still trying to fix things around the house that didn't need fixing. One afternoon, he brought up Chelsea. Before I go, he said, I want to see my daughters talking to each other again. Dad, I'm not asking you to forgive her. I'm not asking you to forget. I'm just asking you to talk to her. Once, for me. I didn't want to. But he was dying, and I loved him, and sometimes love means doing things you don't want to do. Chelsea came to the house the next weekend. Mom and my brother made themselves scarce. It was just the two of us and Dad in his hospital bed in the living room. You two talk, he said. I'm just going to sit here and pretend to sleep. Awkward silence. Finally, Chelsea spoke. I don't know where to start. That makes two of us. I've written you 1,000 letters I never sent. Had 1,000 imaginary conversations where I explain everything, and you understand, and we hug, and it's okay again. This isn't going to be one of those conversations. I know. More silence. Rose asks about you all the time, she said quietly. She's 7 now. Smart as hell. Looks just like you did at that age, according to Mom. She wants to know why she doesn't have an aunt. Why all her friends have aunts who come to their birthday parties and we don't. What do you tell her? The truth. That I hurt you really badly when she was just a baby. That you needed space. That sometimes people we love need space even when it hurts. Does she understand? Not really. But she will someday. Dad spoke up, not bothering to pretend he was asleep. Life's too short to hold grudges. This isn't a grudge, I said. This is self-preservation. Call it what you want. You're still missing out on knowing your niece because of something that happened 7 years ago. Something Chelsea did 7 years ago. Fine. Something Chelsea did. But she's paid for it, don't you think? Lost her sister. Lost her place in this family. Spent 7 years trying to make amends. At what point does the punishment fit the crime? When it feels right to me. Dad looked at both of us. I'm dying. I'd like to die knowing my daughters are at least speaking to each other. That's not fair, I said. Life's not fair, but it's short, and I'm asking. I looked at Chelsea. Really looked at her for the first time in years. She'd aged, gotten thinner. There were lines around her eyes that hadn't been there before. I don't trust you, I said finally. I know. I don't know if I ever will again. I know that too. But I can try. For Dad. Not for you. For him. Something in her face crumpled. Okay. That's okay. That's more than okay. We started small. Coffee once a month. Supervised by Dad when he was strong enough, by Mom when he wasn't. The conversations were stilted at first. Painful. We talked about safe things. Work. Weather. Chelsea's daughter. Slowly. Carefully. We started talking about real things. I think about that party all the time, Chelsea admitted during our 4th coffee meeting. The look on your face when you walked in. I knew instantly I'd made a terrible mistake, but by then it was too late. I couldn't fix it. Why didn't you warn me? Call me before I got there. I was too scared. Garrett told me if I backed out, he'd tell everyone everything. Not just about the money, but about other things. Personal things I'd told him in confidence. What things? She looked down at her coffee. Things about my marriage, about problems we were having, about mistakes I'd made. He'd been recording our conversations. Said he'd send them to my husband if I didn't cooperate. You're saying he blackmailed you? I'm saying I let him blackmail me because I was too weak to stand up to him. Dad died in February, 8 months after his diagnosis. He went peacefully, surrounded by family. Chelsea and I stood on opposite sides of his bed, but we were both there. At the funeral, Rose came up to me. She looked exactly like Chelsea had at 7. Same eyes, same serious expression. Are you my aunt? She asked. I am. Mom says you used to be close, but then you had a fight. Something like that. Are you still fighting? I looked at Chelsea across the room. She was watching us, nervous. No, I said to Rose. We're not fighting anymore. Good. Fighting is stupid. Mom and I fight about vegetables all the time and it never changes anything. She still makes me eat them. I laughed. Your mom's smart about vegetables. Maybe. But Brussels sprouts are still disgusting. After the funeral, Chelsea approached me. Thank you, she said, for talking to her. She's a good kid. She is. She gets that from her dad. A pause. I know you're only doing this because Dad asked. And I know that once enough time passes, you'll probably go back to not talking to me. But thank you anyway, for trying. Chelsea, she looked up. I'm not going to lie and say everything's fine, or that I trust you, or that we're going to be close again. But maybe we can be civil. Maybe that's enough for now. Civil sounds good. Civil sounds great, actually. 8 years after the divorce party, I got a Christmas card from Chelsea. Inside was a photo of Rose holding a sign that said, Dear Aunt, followed by a child's drawing. There was a note from Chelsea. Rose wanted to send this. No pressure to respond. Just wanted you to know she thinks about you. I sent back a card with a $50 gift card to a bookstore. Rose called to say thank you, and we talked for 15 minutes about her favorite books. It became a pattern. Birthdays, holidays, small gestures, careful boundaries. 9 years after everything, Cameron and I decided to host Christmas at our house. I invited Chelsea and her family. She looked shocked when I asked, Are you sure? No, but I'm trying. They came. It was awkward at first. Rose broke the ice by asking Cameron approximately 8,000 questions about our dog. Chelsea helped in the kitchen. Her husband talked sports with my brother. It wasn't perfect, but it was something. That night, after everyone left, Cameron asked me how I felt. Tired, I said. But okay. She's still my sister, even if she'll never be who she was to me before. That's okay too. Relationships change. They don't always go back to what they were. Is that enough? Only you can answer that. I thought about it. Yeah, I think it might be. 10 years after the divorce party, Vincent called. Long time no talk, I said. Yeah, well, I've been busy, but I thought you'd want to know. Your ex died. Everything stopped. What? Heart attack. Last week. Apparently he'd been having health issues for a while. Finally caught up with him. How old was he? 48. I sat down. I don't know what to feel. That's normal. The man caused you a lot of pain, but he's still a person who died young. It's okay to feel complicated about it. Did he ever get his life together? Not really. The bankruptcy followed him. He was working sales at a used car dealership. Living alone, his family had mostly written him off after the insurance fraud thing. That's sad. It is. I'm not glad he's dead, I said. But I'm not sorry either. Does that make me terrible? Makes you human. After we hung up, I told Cameron about Garrett. How do you feel? He asked. Like closing a book I finished reading years ago. Sad that it ended badly. Grateful I'm not in that story anymore. That night I thought about Garrett. About the man I'd married and the man he'd become. About the choices that had led him from our wedding day to a used car lot to dying alone at 48. I didn't cry, but I did acknowledge that once, a long time ago, I'd loved him. And that version of him, the one from before, deserved to be mourned. 11 years after the divorce party, Rose turned 11. Chelsea called to invite me to her birthday party. I know it's a lot to ask, she said, but she really wants you there. She talks about you all the time, about how cool her aunt is, about how you have an amazing house and an even more amazing dog. I went to the party, watched Rose blow out candles and open presents. She gave me a hug that lasted long enough that I felt something crack inside me. Not break, just soften. Later, Chelsea found me in the kitchen. This means everything to her, she said. And to me. She's a good kid. You did well. We're trying. It shows. We stood there for a moment. Two sisters who'd spent a decade navigating the aftermath of one terrible choice. I'm sorry, Chelsea said suddenly. I know I've said it before, but I need to say it again. I'm sorry for the party, for the lies, for all of it. I was weak and scared, and I made choices that hurt you in ways I'll never fully understand. I don't expect forgiveness, but I am sorry. I looked at her, really looked at her. She meant it. I know, I said finally, and I believe you. Does that mean? It doesn't mean anything except that I believe you. The rest, we'll figure out as we go. She nodded, wiping her eyes. That's fair. 12 years after the divorce party, I'm sitting in my backyard on a Sunday morning. Cameron's making breakfast. The dog is chasing squirrels. My phone buzzes with a text from Chelsea asking if we want to come to Rose's soccer game next weekend. I text back, yes. Life isn't perfect. Chelsea and I will never have what we had before. Too much has happened. Too many lies told. Too much trust broken. But we have something. An awkward, careful, slowly rebuilding something. And some days, that's enough. I think about that party sometimes. The cake, the papers, the feeling of walking into my own ambush, the look on Chelsea's face when she realized what she'd helped create. I think about Garrett, dead at 48, alone and bankrupt. I think about Vincent, who gave me the tools to fight back. I think about Cameron, who loved me without trying to fix me. And I think about myself, about the woman who stood in that driveway and made one phone call that changed everything, about the woman who rebuilt her life from scratch, about the woman who learned that forgiveness isn't something you owe anyone, but something you give when you're ready. 12 years later, I'm not the same person I was at that party. I'm harder in some ways, softer in others, wiser about who deserves my trust and who doesn't. I survived betrayal. I survived divorce. I survived the slow, painful process of deciding whether to let my sister back into my life. And I'm still here, still standing, still building a life worth living. That's the real revenge, I think. Not what happened to Garrett, not making Chelsea suffer, but building something so good, so real, so genuinely happy that the people who tried to destroy me become footnotes in a story that's ultimately about survival and growth and choosing yourself when everyone else wants you to choose them instead. My phone buzzes again. Rose texting from Chelsea's phone. Aunt, I scored a goal at practice. Can you come to my game, please? I text back. Wouldn't miss it. Cameron brings me coffee and kisses the top of my head. Good morning. Good morning. The dog brings me his ball. The sun is shining. In a few hours, I'll go watch my niece play soccer. Next week, Chelsea and I have plans for coffee. It's not the life I planned 12 years ago, but it's mine, and that's enough.